Hello, welcome to Subjective Insight. Squinty-eyed Chris, right in the sunlit going on my face, Chris, at the moment, gabbling a bit there. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about, I haven't really thought of a name for it yet, I'll just make up one, intellectual confidence, right? See, a lot of people, they kind of believe that confidence is a kind of superiority, and in order to maintain their confidence, they'll try and maintain a certain role in conversation, so they'll try to dominate the teacher position and never go over into the student position. This is a false sense of security, a false sense of confidence, because well, you've got to scrabble for it. Where I'm looking to build my confidence up, the technique that I've kind of found succor in is to... Right, it comes from my ideas about truth. Well, not my ideas, a very old idea, the correspondence theory. You know, the truth of a statement is dependent upon whether the statement matches what it's a statement about, right? So you're talking about something, and it's like, within that interaction, so you've got two people maybe talking about a lamppost, and within that interaction, they're going to exchange the teacher-student role. It'll be like, oh, this lamppost is great, oh yeah, I see that, and then I see this, and then somebody may say something and you don't see it, and then you'll compare what they're saying to what it is you're looking at, and you either see it or you don't. So your confidence is coming from this exterior source, it's coming from what you can see. And behind this confidence is this honesty as well, that there has to be this, you've got to be honest with what you see, because the unconfident person, they'll pretend to see something they don't see because they're not confident, they're not sure, and they think the person speaking is like, oh, you know, they got to be right kind of thing. And then what we can do once we get that level of honesty to say, yeah, I do see this or I don't see this, and you stand upon that ground, then you can turn that around upon yourself. So if somebody says to you, hey, you're a dickhead, right? And you're concerned that they're calling you a dickhead, if you analyse that all the way through and you look at yourself and you see that you actually do have a dick on your head, then the least of your concerns should be that somebody's calling you a dickhead. And so this grows confidence, because in a sense, confidence is where you're scared of bad things being found out about you, you know, or somebody looking down upon you or judging you in a negative manner. But if you develop the observer and you look at yourself and then you compare yourself to what's being said, it's either true or not. And if it is true, then it don't fucking matter that it's being said, it's bloody true. You've got to sort it out if you can. If you can't, you've got to learn to live with it. Sometimes in relationships, though, it's not that level there is very easy to maintain when you're not hoping to be intimate with people, because really intimacy is where you want to let out your true self. You want to be as free and liberated as possible, and sometimes people that they can put limits on that. They can try and stop it. They can try and push you down. And that's not a confidence thing. It's like if you want to play with me, well, you got to play the game. We got to have consent in the games that we play. You know, we've got to find each other enjoyable. So that's not a confidence issue, that's more just a compatibility issue. But just being able to look at something and say honestly what you see or don't see, and then confidence doesn't even come in then. You either see it or you don't. And if you speak it with a jitteriness, hello? Alright? Yeah, if you speak it with a jitteriness, so what, you know? If the lamp is there, the lamp is there, whether or not there's a stutter in the statement. It doesn't matter, and that's the key. That's the path that I've been following. That's where I've seen light shining at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. Is that I don't fucking matter. So I could talk about me as I talk about a lamppost, or I'm trying to get to that level. I'm trying to get to that brute authenticity and brute honesty. You know, I'm an honesty fiend, bruv. You know, you got skagheads and all that kind of thing. I'm an honesty fiend. I want to get all the shit out there so you can look at it. And that does take confidence in itself. It's a fake it till you make it kind of thing. And that's a volcano. I used to slide down there on these little pickety things. It's got a little caldera in the middle as well. It's not an actual caldera, I think it's probably just the tip site. I ain't got a clue actually, it's just, those are just hypotheses. In order to test the hypothesis that could be a tip site, I'd have to dig a hole and see if I come across any rubbish. That's how you test a hypothesis. See, the hypothesis, the statement is that could have been a tip site, like covered over. That's the hypothesis, that's the statement. That hill is what the statement's about. To test whether that statement, that's a tip site, is true or not, you're digging it. You know, you go and look at the fucking thing that you're talking about and compare it to what you said. That's it. And within that process, you just have faith in that process. You just, like, it's not even that you got to have faith. It's not an act we do. That's just how we verify stuff. We can't help it. That's, you know, the path is grey and made out of tarmac. Do you believe that? Of course you do, because you can see it's grey and it's made out of tarmac with a white line going through it. Goodbye.